Hey Bobcat fans, this is Al Weston, Sports Information Director at Georgia College, and it's time once again for the Bobcat Coach's Corner. As we started this a couple of weeks ago, a video production to kind of get you a better feel for getting inside the athletic programs at Georgia College, and got such a phenomenal response on YouTube and Facebook as far as the number of views that we decided, like any good business model, that we go ahead and switch things up a little bit. We're going to be here in the beautiful studios over in Atkinson Hall. Going to make it a little bit more razzle-dazzle. Going to put some graphics and fancy stuff, going on here with the production crew over in Atkinson. And I want to thank them for their efforts and as we get through the Bobcat Coach's Corner. Now, along with those changes, we got one big change, and that's going to be my pretty face on the camera as well. And I'm sure you're really excited about that. But I can guarantee you there'll be at least 2 more viewers this week because I'm going to make sure my parents watch it. Now, I know what you're thinking to yourself, Al, let's get on with the sports already, and I agree. Here we go. We're going to get our first coach on the way. And thanks again for tuning in to the Bobcat Coach's Corner. Stick around. Here with head coach Jimmy Wilson of the Bobcat golf team. Thanks again for taking some time to let us inside your program here, Jimmy.
My pleasure, Al.
Okay, well, you had a week off. I gave you a week off. Take some rest and formulate your answers to these questions that I'm going to have to fire at you. But 2 weeks ago, the Spring Hill Suites Intercollegiate had a great finish there, a largely Division I meet, and you won the thing. How'd you go about doing that?
Wow is the first word that comes to my mind. 15-team field, 13 Division I schools, 2 Division IIs. Brought 2 guys from my lineup the first week, threw 3 new guys in the lineup. I was playing with 1 senior, 2 sophomores, 2 freshmen. It was 2 of the guys' first competition in college. Didn't really know what to expect. Went out and we got off to a hot start, and we rode it all the way through that first day. Luckily, a 36-hole day, the kids don't have time to stop and look at the scoreboard and see where we stand. After we finished 27 holes, I sort of pulled them together, and I'm like, guys, we're playing well. The next 9 holes is going to dictate to us whether or not we got a chance to win this thing. So let's, I know we're tired. Let's refocus and get it done the last 9 holes of the day. And the guys did. They did a great job.
And not only won the thing, but you ran away with it. I mean, it was about an 18-stroke difference, I think, between you guys and number 2. You were 16 under par. Every golfer was under par individually except for one, I believe. Again, these are largely rookies that you're working with. How are these? Are they just not realizing the level of golf that they're playing right now? They're not thinking about it too much?
I think that's exactly it. A lot of times when you have, I call them rookies, freshmen in the lineup, they're just out there playing golf, which is the way they grew up, just playing golf. I guess it hasn't sunk in that maybe, I got to play good for the team to play good. They're just out there playing golf, which is what I want all of my guys to do. Billy Sheeta finished second individually, 1 shot out of first at 8 under. That was his best collegiate finish ever. He's my 1 senior that played. Patrick Garrett, sophomore, finished up in 3rd place individually. He was under par. Gavin Harper, freshman, was under par. He finished 6th in the event. And then Bernardo Bidet, who only played a couple events for us last year, as a sophomore, he finished T11. So, like I said, when we got finished, I was like, wow, how did we do this?
Now, you mentioned Billy Sheeta. He's your only senior that's been starting these first 2 tournaments for you. And as a senior, a former all-conference guy last year, and such a great high school and amateur pedigree from Billy, is this an opportunity now as a senior for him to kind of grab the horns and lead these guys to some good things, you think?
I spoke with both he and Joe Young, another senior, over the summer. Both of them are 4-year starters. And, we talked about being a leader. And what I like for a leader to be is somebody that leads by example, and not somebody that's a rah-rah kind of guy. Now, I'm the guy that will pat you on the back or fuss at you if I need to. I want these guys to lead by example. The first one to practice, last one to leave. We're doing our conditioning, work harder than everybody else to show the young guys that this is what we do. This is what we're about. And, Billy, having won the inaugural David Toms Award last year for overcoming adversity, I think that in itself shows the guys that it takes hard work, it takes perseverance, it takes determination to be successful at this level.
Okay. Now, looking at that starting five, like you mentioned, you've had 2 different ones and 2 tournaments, vastly different with, 3 new guys in there. Is that starting to flesh out a little bit? I know you were going to take the fall semester to kind of consider everything, or is everybody just playing too good and you got no idea who's going to be in there?
Well, we got back from Francis Marion and walked in Wendell Staten's office, our athletic director, and, he looked at me and says, "You got a great problem, Coach." I'm like, "What do you mean?" He says, "You got so many guys playing well." I'm like, you may see it as a great problem. I don't necessarily see it that way. Every one of my kids want to be in the lineup every week, and they're competing to get in the lineup. At this point of the year, what's hardest for me is not picking who's going to go, but picking who's not going to go. Because I know that these kids are working hard. They're performing at their best, and they want to be in the lineup every week. So having to sit down and explain to these people that you haven't done anything wrong, but I'm just going to give somebody else a shot to see what we've got. We've got so many new faces. Yeah, I'm going to shuffle the lineup a little bit this week and again next week at Columbus. But hopefully by the end of the fall we'll have some sort of idea of who's going to be our top 5.
Yep, when it starts to matter most in the spring and getting into Peach Belt tournament, trying to defend that title. Okay, well, looking at, you mentioned Joe Young briefly, a 2-time All-American for this program, had a rough go in the summer with elbow surgery. How's Joe coming along, and how has his injury affected your team, do you think?
Well, Joe was Freshman of the Year in the Peach Belt Conference. He's 3-time All-Conference selection, 2 or 3-time All-Region, and like you said, twice an All-American. Joe was having a great year last year. Toward the end of the spring, started struggling a little bit. And I noticed he was, messing with his arm, wearing a brace or whatever. And, I was thinking tendonitis, just overuse of his arm, practicing too much, whatever. So I asked him to slow down his practice a little bit. And then during the summer, it just got continually worse. Well, I guess it was in July, he called me and he said he wanted to see a doctor about his elbow. And, got a couple of opinions, and our team doctor here in Milledgeville, Dr. Neergarth, ended up doing arthroscopic surgery on him probably a couple, 3 weeks before school started, just to clean out the area around his elbow. He's been rehabbing every day with Paul Higgs, our head athletic trainer. Paul's been working him hard, and Joe's been working hard. And I'm going to put Joe back in the lineup this weekend and just see where we're at. He's been cleared by the doctor, by the trainers. So we're, having been a 2-time All-American, I'm going to stick him back in there as soon as I can.
Sounds like a great idea to me. And again, you have that great problem of trying to figure out who's not going to make it. Of course, you mentioned this weekend you're headed down to Florida, to Destin, Florida, I believe, for the Sandestin Collegiate Championship. It's a tournament you haven't played in before, to my knowledge, correct?
Yeah, it's a brand new tournament hosted by West Florida. We'll have the usual characters there. Florida Southern will be there, Lynn University, Berry University, Nova Southeastern, North Alabama, I think, is scheduled to be there. So there'll be several top 10 schools in Division II to compete against. We'll see. We'll see where we're at.
What do you know about the course down there? Anything about it at all?
It's the Raven Golf Club. They hosted a Champions Tour event down there for several years. They since moved it maybe 3 years ago to another venue, but it's a great golf course, as all the golf courses are that we play during the year.
Okay. All right. Well, again, looking at that tournament, who's going to be your 5 that you bring with you down to Florida?
That's a good question, Al.
Still haven't worked that out yet.
As soon as I know, I'm going to let the team know who I'm taking. Again, it's right at this point of the season, it's not who you're going to take, but who are you not going to take. And I know that sounds strange, but every one of these kids want to play every tournament, and trying to get them to understand that I want to see as many people play as I can, but yet not harm someone's self-esteem or their ego. It's a balancing act. And, the guys know my routine, that, I shuffle it up during the fall, and to be honest with you, I got no idea who I'm taking this weekend.
Yeah, and I remember a couple of years ago you had this same problem of trying to figure out, what that starting 5 was going to be, and I believe at the end of the year you ended up 5th in the country, so this, like you said, good problem to have, and hopefully you can come up with that magic 5 that's going to get us right back to that upper level.
Funny thing about last week and that year was when we got to Nationals that year, we were playing 2 freshmen, 2 sophomores, and a senior, which is what we took to the last tournament.
That's what you've been working with. Okay. Well, this has been the Bobcat Coach's Corner with head coach Jimmy Wilson. Thanks again for your time, Jimmy. And we'll check in with you after this Sandestin tournament, hopefully another victory.
Perfect. Thank you, Al.